Jordan Harbinger is here from the Jordan Harbinger Show.
Yeah, Harbinger.
French.
One of the biggest podcasts of 2018.
Yeah,
iTunes
right?
ranked it. Yeah.
Wow.
It made the list of like the top 50 podcasts of the year last year, which is amazing because Jordan was on another big podcast called The Art of Charm. It was a terrible breakup. Jordan's left there on his own on an island trying to figure out what am I going to do now. And all of a sudden, he comes to the end of 2018 and the Jordan Harbinger Show, where it's just him, is one of the top 50 podcasts in the world. Isn't that right?
Who are you doing The Art of Charm with?
I was doing that show with two dudes that were... Are you familiar with the term dead weight?
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was my nickname in high school.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah.
That's what he calls his penis.
Yeah, that's actually a really good
No, it's
nickname for a
lightweight.
dick.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because I remember going, oh my God, how am I going to do this show with... like, my core team had left with me, and I thought, thank God for that. But, you know, I have all these resources that I don't... Or I had all these resources that I won't have anymore. And now, what I realize now is, oh, wait... Having people tell you that everything you do sucks and that you'll never, you can't do this, you can't do... That's not a resource, actually.
It's my parents.
Yeah. It's like parents that go, when are you going to get a job? And you're like, I have a morning show every single day that airs across North America. Yeah, but are you going to go to medical school? It's like, okay, all right. At some point, you got to leave the nest.
Well, who were these guys? How did you know them?
We met when I was in grad school. And when I used to be a lawyer, which is like not something I usually talk about in public.
Sure,
but,
you and Bundy both.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's great company. And so when I met this one guy, we started the show when I was still in law school. And then when I moved here to New York in 2003 or something like that, after law school, or no, sorry, 2007, we were teaching guys basically like picking up girls all the time. It started off as a dating thing, and I didn't have
Did you
time.
wear like funny velvet hats?
Oh my God, no! We were like
mystery.
Mystery is cool.
Yeah.
We
Makes
were
you
like the
intrigued me.
counterpoint to
I
that.
gotta know.
Oh.
He's got goggles.
Yeah.
Tell me more, mystery.
Ooh,
Yes.
Hi, hello, pig.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I want to know you. Nobody talks to me like that.
Exactly.
So it was a dating thing.
Yeah, it was a dating thing, and we were kind of trying to be the counterpoint to that exact little skit that you
pickup
guys just
artist
ran.
thing, yeah.
Because it was like we realized as functional humans that like the women that would respond to that were probably not the kind of women you wanted to.
They're probably the
Do-
type of women
do
that
it.
would fall for a guy like B.
Yeah,
Right.
On abducted in plain
but they
sight.
probably
yeah.
aren't the type of women you'd like to fuck, though. Nice, just dumb models
Oh, yeah.
who want to be negged a little bit.
You'd be okay with that if they weren't that great at conversations?
Yeah,
You would.
sure. Because neither am I. Perfect.
Abducted in plain sight is on my list.
It's
Oh, yeah, it's
incredible.
really
We
hot.
just
It's a
broke it.
doozy.
Yeah.
Hot.
Oh, sorry.
Did you just miss the last 45 minutes?
Sorry, no, I didn't mean to say that.
Okay.
It's hot as and it has a lot of plays on Netflix.
Oh no, I mean I jerk off to it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Jim. What are you doing? You just... Let's go back to what we were talking about
Okay,
before.
yeah.
It was
Yeah,
better. Yeah.
There's that. So I hired some of these guys that I was doing the old show with because I was a lawyer and I was like, I can't hang out with dudes all day and all night till 4 o'clock in
Sure.
the morning. I got to get up at like 8 and go into an office and not be hungover every day. Although
What kind of law?
real estate finance, very exciting. Yeah, you ever heard of mortgage-backed securities?
Oh, God.
It's in my Tinder ad.
Speaking of hard, yeah. So that's what we were doing. Or that's what I was doing. And then I would come home and there'd be like this apartment. It was all out of my apartment back then. And now it's funny. We've come full circle. Now there's a studio in my house. So
How
it's
long?
kinda still-
How long were you doing it, and how long before you knew, like, oh, these guys, I got it. Fuck these guys.
I did the old show for 11 years.
Wow.
So I've been doing a podcast for 12 years.
Jesus.
And I knew though, and I literally realized those guys were not going to work out. Like 2020 hindsight, within the first probably 4 or 5 years, which actually is a really long time.
That is a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I mean, then you got the 5 or 6 years on the back end of that
Yeah.
where it's just hell.
And people being like, yeah, sound familiar, anyone? Yeah. But people being like, hey, when are you going to split off on your own? And I'm like, oh, I can't. You know, we came up, we run this business together. But it made the decision really easy when I had no choice. I guess when it wasn't a decision.
When they gave you the boot?
They fired you?
Exactly. Yeah, essentially. We were negotiating an amicable split. They can't really fire me. I still own a third of the company.
Oh, you do.
To this day?
To this day.
Are you getting paid?
No, yeah, eventually.
That's
Maybe.
That's what we're trying
if
to
they
get.
have any money.
I see.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hence, my law degree is coming full circle too. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't see the Art of Charm on the top 50 podcasts of the year.
They're not. They are. No, it's funny how. Yeah, it's funny when you fire all the talent on the show, things go downhill. Did you hear that?
2014.
Station manager.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear that, management at Sirius? You can't get rid of the top talent.
So did you? But you changed the show because the show isn't Jordan Harbinger show is not just a show about picking up chicks.
No,
now.
there's no dating on it pretty much at all.
Right.
Which I thought people went, oh man, you're screwed. You changed everything. You're going to lose half your audience. What I found was like the bottom crusty 10% that you wouldn't scrape off the bottom of your shoe is like, I don't like the new show. And I'm like, oh, good. Because you're the one on Twitter who's like, I need more about how to pick up girls at funerals. And I'm like, can you take that?
I'd like to know.
How you score some sweet puss.
Yeah.
That should be the name of this show, right?
Especially if she's the fucking one crying over the casket.
You like that?
How do you pull that off?
Some wedding crashers type stuff.
Little coffin
funeral
box.
crashers. Exactly. So, but the rest of the audience was like, finally. So it was almost like I was the last one. I was like the last guy to that party where I realized, and this is sort of a greater thing. Like, I was the last person to realize, hey, I probably could have moved on earlier because my audience was like, finally, can we not talk about this dumb crap anymore? Because what was really popular was the stuff I was doing that I considered to be off topic, where I'd have somebody come in and talk about like how they escaped North Korea or something like that.
So you just like doing interesting conversations, or do you look at it as like a wellness sort of improve your life type of podcast?
It's a little bit of both. No wellness, because I don't do like health, because I need to be able to call BS on stuff that is actual BS. And I can't do that if I'm like, oh, okay, mitochondria. Like, last I heard of that was in bio in 9th grade. I can't really be like, eh. But if someone comes on and is like, if you just think about it enough, it'll happen. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That I know is a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
Right.
So don't bring that in here. Tell me something practical that the audience can use to actually get better. And if they're like, well, then it's a massacre.
You don't buy The Secret?
No, I hate that stuff.
Yeah, where they just think positive thoughts and things will happen.
I
Don't put that in the universe. Don't put that in the universe.
There was one chapter in The Secret when I realized like this really is real, where they literally said you should cover up the numbers on your scale. Don't use a scale and don't even worry about dieting. Think thin thoughts, they said.
That's what got
It really
Ralphie
makes
May.
sense, yeah.
Yeah, if you think thin thoughts,
No.
you'd be amazed at how the weight just disappears.
Well, it's still the same thing. It's dieting because you won't eat as much. That's
I
what
don't
it's
know
about.
anything about that. It's the think thin thoughts is that's what got you, right?
Yeah.
Just
I thought AIDS. So you
Did you
went,
lose weight, by the way?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, you look better.
Thank you.
Yeah. Not that you looked bad before.
I did. I was
You
a
look
fat
better
He
fuck.
now.
looked horrible.
I was awful.
All right, it's that kind of show.
Yeah, I look like fucking Natalie from The Facts of Life. So let me ask you too, Joe. I think we might have talked to you about it last time where you've been in
Maybe.
North Korea.
Yeah.
How many times?
4 times.
And even after that, Otto, what was his name?
Otto Warmbier.
Warmbier. You weren't alarmed and not wanting to go back?
I did not go back after that.
Oh, you have not been back?
No, I have not.
That's because one of the things he liked to do over there was take flags.
Oh.
Like that was his favorite.
What's funny? What's funny / not funny is I do have a bunch of propaganda posters
Oh, my
at home
God, Jordan.
framed.
How'd you get them?
I bought them, but like you don't know that you don't get a receipt where you're on the plane and they're like, "Sir, did you steal that?" And you're like, "Nah, hold on, I got that at the store that sells propaganda posters." Like people give them to you when you ask for them, or you trade for them, or you buy them. But of course, he took his off the wall, which was not advisable. I felt real bad for that guy because,
of course,
people go, "Oh, what an idiot! He went there." I'm like, okay, no matter what, he's like 20 and died. Imagine the dumbest thing you did at age 20.
Yeah,
having a death sentence, none of us would be here.
Yeah, comedy.
Right? Yeah.
You die every night.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Would you go back? Because now the relations are a little bit better. I don't see them just randomly kidnapping Americans, especially with now there's some kind of a potential for a relationship.
That was my favorite part of State of the Union last night when Trump gave himself the pat on the back and he was like, if I wasn't the president, we'd be at war with North Korea right now.
Well, we technically,
I mean, we still are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he said no. He's going back at the end of the month to talk to his friend Kim Jong again.
Is that happening?
Mm-hmm.
That's a miracle.
Yeah. Yep, he's going back.
And it pains me to say that.
He got it done.
He did. I mean, he at least opened the door.
It's not done yet. I think
he got the conversation done. The fact that a conversation even happened.
That is a miracle.
Right.
I cannot be like, well, I don't like him, so here's a reason why I'm going to shit on that. He is. That is amazing. Nobody has done that for freaking 60 years.
Where are they meeting? They was Singapore
Vietnam.
last time. Oh, Vietnam.
This time. They're going to meet in Vietnam, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he announced that last night. It was news.
Kim could come here. I guess he doesn't want to, but I mean, he would be allowed to leave.
Oh man,
I think they got to find the middle ground where it's not like, it's so important to them that I'm not going all the way to you, but you're not going all the way to me. So it's like nobody's giving up that sort of alpha thing.
But wouldn't it be like if you're a welcomed guest in the United States, you'd be the first? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe America's not quite ready to make him that sort of welcomed guest.
Oh,
either.
maybe
I don't know.
Okay, maybe he would come if he was invited. Yeah,
there's a whole. I used to work actually for the State Department in an embassy, and I found that like the whole diplomatic thing, it's a whole thing. There's a whole protocol thing that I still don't understand. Because I'm like, yeah, just fly him over here. Who cares, right? Put him to Disneyland. Everything will be fine. You can't. There's a whole rigmarole, like step by step thing where you don't just be like, you know what, we've been fighting for a while, why don't you come on over to the White House? It's like, whoa, it's too much.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It's like meeting the family on the first date. It's like, look, I like you and everything, but do I need to meet your grandma? Not really.
Right. There's a set of traditions we
How long did you do that?
Yeah.
That's an interesting job.
I did that for not that long, actually. That was about like a year.
Okay. Which embassy are you don't want to say?
Panama. It's Panama City, Panama.
Panama.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. I've had that on repeat for a year and a half.
So at what point did you start podcasting full time? Like this is the gig.
So I don't know if you remember that recession in 2008 where about mortgage-backed securities and what we were doing causing that whole problem. They basically said, look,
should have listened to Christian Bale and that glass eye of his.
I know. They said, look, we're going to get more work for you guys around May. And at this point, it's like September of the previous year. And I went, well, this isn't really going to further my career. And they were like, it's not. You should look for another job. But until you find another job, we'll pay you. And I said, for how long? Because this is great. Like, I get to show up every day and get paid. But they're like, yeah, but your carear is being stifled. And I was just thinking, well, maybe your career is being stifled. My career is not this. So whatever. And so I got really lucky. They basically paid me for like 9.5 months, full salary and benefits on a Wall Street gig. I didn't get any bonuses or anything, but like
you didn't do anything.
What?
You weren't even showing up.
After a while, they were like, "You don't have to come in. There's nothing for you to do."
Jesus.
Wow. But having an office in World Financial Number 2 with a computer and a phone that they said you could use, and then just being able to shut the door, actually, I got a lot of work done. So I started my business, my old business, which I guess now is partially my new business. I started it with essentially my salary and my office and funding everything. And they were like, yeah, if you need to print something, print something. You need to use the phone, use the phone. And so I would bring in recording equipment, set up in a conference room, do interviews. And instead of being like, come to my dirty apartment with 16 dudes sleeping on couches and like Broad Street, I'd go, hey, come to World Financial Number 2, go to security, get a tag like you do here.
Yeah.
Come on up to conference room 62B, and I'll be in there. And people would walk in and be like, wow, how successful is this podcast?
And the company was cool with it.
They were fine with it.
That's great.
They were like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm doing some interviews and stuff. They were like, hey, look, whatever. We just feel bad that we're basically like torpedoing your career as a second-year lawyer after you studied for 3 years, took the bar exam in New York, passed, and then we're like, hey, oh, wait, we blew up the whole economy. Sorry about that.
But you understand real estate. So you own a place in New York?
I didn't. I was renting because I was 27,
I mean,
28.
now do you?
No.
Because that'd be the best because you know every trick these fucking these real estate agents are pulling, or all the bullshit.
Oh man,
finding the deals.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. Although real estate finance, mostly it's like you're looking at commercial buildings like this one that we're in, and they're like, yeah, they're getting a 15th mortgage loan backwards ass thingamajig finance, and so we just need to make sure that all of the pieces of the building that it says are on this plan are in the building. So I would literally look at something and they'd be like, are there 467 parking spaces in this development in southeastern Florida? And I'd be like, see you guys in 3 hours. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
That was the first. I mean, you do a lot of stuff like that. People think being a lawyer is like you're hammering away in court or you're doing some interesting stuff. Your first few years, you are if they gave that task to the secretary, she'd be like, psh, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Right? But you do it. Or they'll give you an 800-page document and they'll go, can you proofread this? And I'll go, what am I looking for? And they're like, like mistakes. And I'd go, yeah, there's 40 missing commas. There's a couple citations that aren't there. There's a couple pages that are just blank in the middle. And they're like, great, thanks. Because they have to pay you. You're on salary. So they're just looking for things to give you that you're qualified to do.
You're not good enough to do the big shit yet.
Not even close. No. There were numerous occasions as a Wall Street attorney where we'd be negotiating with like some Turkish Coca-Cola executives, and they would be so slow and inefficient and indecisive that the partner who's controlling it would go, hey, they're saying that they have a flight out in 4 hours and that they have to go and pack. We're going to send you to their hotel, and you pack their stuff from the hotel and bring it here. So we buy an extra like 2.5 hours of time to negotiate. And I would go in to this hotel and like pack this dude's smelly and dirty stuff into a suitcase and bring it back. And then they would be like, thanks for doing that clearly demeaning task.
Yeah.
You didn't pass the bar exam in New York to do this. But you know what? It's like that's what you do as a first and second year associate. There's no glamour involved in that job.
I'm more amazed that the Turkish guys let you touch their stuff.
I know. That's what
I
I
would
was
never let
thinking.
anybody pack my
No,
stuff.
can you imagine? I think
My
about
cock
that now.
pump. So
Do
embarrassing.
you travel with that?
Yes, I do.
Good.
You have to. You have to use it every day.
Well, dick health is important, right?
Absolutely. No, I drink out of it.
Oh, I see. I see. I see. It's like a thermos.
You got to plug the bottom part.
That's why your dick had pulp on it.
You've had a ton of great guests on your podcast.
Oh yeah,
I was looking at one. I was watching one last night. You had that guy Derren Brown.
that guy is amazing. That's one of
Okay.
the best interviews ever.
Okay, so I'm trying to
Who is
figure
it?
out. So he's a mentalist. This guy Derren Brown. He's British, but he's starting to gain some traction in the States because he's putting out these Netflix specials,
Yes.
and people are getting into it. But the one that I watched, did you see it? The Push.
That's one of my favorite things.
Okay,
ever.
so he did this special, The Push, and it's like an hour, and all it is you start, and it's hidden cameras everywhere, and you set up a scenario where the person doesn't know they're being filmed everywhere, the person doesn't know, but the idea is that by the end of the night, you have to take a person from average start, all good, whatever, to working on their brain so much that you can convince them to murder somebody to the point where they actually think they've murdered somebody by the end of the night. Like the end of the special is there's a guy sitting on a ledge, and you've been working on this guy so much that he's convinced he has to push the guy off the ledge. And there's a bungee attached to him and everything, but there's 5 seconds where the guy goes, "Holy shit, I just killed somebody."
Does he know there's a bungee attached or no?
No, nobody knows. Nobody's in
I've
on
never
it.
seen this.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy.
What's amazing is you watch the whole special, and there's a spoiler, but you watch the whole special, and at the end of it, the guy's like, "No, I'm not going to push this guy off," and your faith in humanity is restored. And then Derren Brown comes in. There's only like 2 minutes left in the special, but he
Right.
goes, "Oh, but just so you know, he's not the only one we did this with." And you see a montage of like 5 other people,
Yep.
and they all push the guy off the
Wow.
ledge.
He's like the only one that didn't do it.
Yeah, and
That's
you're
why
like,
they show you him.
right, and you're like, "Holy fuck!" But then I was like, and I don't know any of Derren Brown's other stuff,
Right.
but I'm going, is this guy a mentalist or is he just a bully who is just beating down your brain so badly, like you would do to a torture victim, that you can convince them to do anything?
Is he the one that did that the invisibility thing where they convince a regular person that they are invisible?
Oh, I've seen. That's a different guy. That's a Magic for Humans or something like that.
Yeah, it was
Where-
weird.
Where they're like, "Oh, we
That's
get a
the guy we had in.
volunteer."
Oh, we had a man. Oh,
yeah, we
Justin
had that
Willman.
guy in. Yeah, Justin Willman.
That's
yeah.
why we watched it. Okay.
That guy's really interesting too, and that was really funny. Where
Yeah.
the whole audience is in on it, but it's similar in that the whole audience or everyone else is in on it. There's another Derren Brown one that's not on Netflix, and this good for nothing like loaf kid who just drinks and like doesn't appreciate his parents.
He works here.
He convinces. He's probably an intern here. He convinces this kid that basically he woke up in like a zombie apocalypse and like everyone's dead, and he's got to turn this kid into a hero, and like there's hundreds of people in on this in real time, and they're messing with his phone because they hack his phone so it doesn't work, because of course he's just like in a closed off area of probably like Idaho.
See, none of the Derren Brown stuff is done with that sort of wink that the Justin Willman stuff. Justin Willman stuff, it's all done kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like the Derren Brown stuff is not fun. I'm looking at this going, okay, like that's really interesting to watch, but I'm pretty sure that everybody involved is going to have PTSD after this.
For sure.
Yeah.
He has to screen people. I asked him about this on the show. He has to screen people because there's the other one on Netflix is called Sacrifice, and there's this guy who's like, I'm not racist, I just think white people are better, right? He's one of those.
Like a Liam Neeson type.
He convinces this guy to jump in front of a bullet for a guy he thinks is an illegal immigrant from Mexico when these bikers are about to shoot him. And the guy is like, freaking out. And he's wearing a vest that explodes and this fake blood goes everywhere. And he thinks he's been shot.
Wow.
But like, and it's good to
Damn.
not be racist. But at the same time, you're watching somebody's whole idea of who they are get completely shattered.
Yes.
Like they leave this thing
every morning.
Maybe he leaves this thing not racist anymore, I guess.
Kinda.
But also having no clue who he is. Like, what the fuck? I've just been completely deconstructed as a person, and I'm an adult human being.
How long are the specials?
They're like an hour.
I'll watch. He's not a comic, right?
No,
No,
it's
they're
not
great.
funny.
Derren Brown. Okay, I'll
They're
watch
great.
that.
Did you see the one where they had the kid? It was Clapton's kid,
No.
and they pushed him
But he
off.
convinced me.
Oh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa, Mark,
Whoa.
too soon.
Too
Too soon, man.
If I knew my name.
But did you, I mean, what do you think of that? Because I kind of see him and I'm like,
Oh,
I don't know if you're tricking people as much as you're torturing people.
You're just persuasive.
I think it's genius because, look, the people who are convinced to kill someone,
They should be weeded out. We should know who they are.
but now they're going to go, wait a minute. Every time I'm asked to do these little things that lead up to something bigger, they're going to have more defenses built up against that. Everybody who watches that.
That's true.
Now when I'm like, hey, can you hold this coffee? Now throw it in Sam's face. You know, you're like, wait, I'm not going to hold your coffee.
A shell of the person they used to be going like, I can't believe I'm capable of killing somebody. I can't believe I did this.
Maybe.
And I'm on TV doing it. What am I doing?
Yeah, now I'm a bad person forever.
Exactly.
Right.
They didn't know they were a bad person until fucking Derren showed up and was like, by the way, I fixed you, but your whole life before this, you were a shit human being.
So I did ask him about this, and the truth is, he's like, look, after this, they go and see a psychologist for a little bit because they're not bad people. And he explains this in the special. He's like, you're not a bad person for having done this. We literally manipulated you in baby steps, and then he kind of walks him through it. And he's like, look, you're not a bad person because, and the first sort of compliance step is they've got these trays of hors d'oeuvres, and he's like, can you help put these vegetarian flags in the vegetarian ones and the regular ones not? And then he's like, oh crap, we don't have any vegetarian ones. Just put the vegetarian flags in the ones with meat. These people will never know. It's fine. And they're like, oh, all right, I guess, right? Because it's kind of harmless. And then it's like, oh, well, this other thing happened. You have to pretend to be the donor because he didn't show up.
So once they've misbehaved a little bit, they misbehave a little more.
How do they know it's not a
little
work,
more.
though? They know they're being filmed.
No, they don't know they're being filmed.
Oh, I
It's all
see.
hidden cameras.
It's all hidden camera.
What do
yeah.
they think they're there for? And how do they get them to...
It's basically they auditioned for something like months ago and signed the waiver.
Okay.
And then they're here for like a catering job.
They signed a waiver.
like 3 months prior, auditioned
Smart.
for a TV show.
Yeah.
And then they were like, sorry, you didn't get the show. And they're like, whatever. And then 3 months later, like, hey, you need temp work? We have a catering thing for this charity event. You're going to be the assistant to the organizer. So it's like, put the little flag, the vegetarian flags in. And then after that, it's like, oh, shoot, the donor, he had a heart attack. You got to help me move his body before all the people come in. But it's like these little tiny gradients. And then it comes into the whole murder thing.
Are they mic'd or no?
The whole area seems to be mic'd
Yeah,
up
it's like
decently.
room
Okay.
mics. It's not lapels.
Okay.
If that's
Yeah.
what.
No,
Yeah,
I
because it's
just-
not fake.
I'm not saying it is. I
Yeah.
have to ask you that. I don't want to go in skeptical. Like a lot of times, audio gives away if something is fake. If the audio is too clear.
That's a good point I hadn't thought of.
Or the camera angles. Like if there's a camera angle that's supposed to be stationary, but you see it move a little bit, or it's too perfect, or it's framed too right, or the audio is too clear, that always gives away that things are staged.
I was watching a certain hidden camera show that I'm not going to mention which one.
Yeah.
On an airplane next to Jim, and the whole time I'm like enjoying it, and Jim's just looking over at the seat, and he's like, "Hey, how'd they get that angle?" And I went, "Oh, you fuck."
Yeah, I think about that sometimes. You're obviously better at it than me, but sometimes I'll be like, "Oh my god," and my wife will go, "That can't be real," and I'll be like, "It's totally real. It's totally real," and then I'll Google it, and someone's like, you know that time when they're like direct, like there's no way that somebody got a full facial shot where they're not moving out of the shot at all, and they're saying like, this could be the last time we ever see each other, and it's like fade to black, and it's like, how did you get that?
Yeah.
Oh wait, everyone was in on this, and I'm the only idiot that didn't get it.
Yeah, the moon landing. Oh, sorry.
The Holocaust.
But yeah.
Do you have any? Who do you have coming up? Guest-wise?
Actually, there's so many good ones. I have Russell Brand coming up.
Ooh.
Hopefully,
I've been going
fingers
through
crossed.
Russell Brand's Twitter videos.
Great talker.
Like explaining
He is.
shit. So how about
Yeah.
this? Okay, so Russell Brand's one of these guys that kind of speaks on the dangers of social media through social media.
Yeah.
I saw you literally just did a podcast about deleting social media.
Yes.
Promoted mainly on social media. Like,
yeah, I know. The irony there is not lost on me.
How in like a digital age, as it's called, like how do you realistically go, yeah, I'm a podcaster who kind of thinks that social media is bad?
Well, podcasting I don't think is social media, but I do think that Instagram and Twitter are obviously social media. And the problem that I've had is I didn't have Instagram until October of 2017. I just resisted it. I was like, I'm not doing this. And then I sort of didn't mess with it for a while. I just uploaded occasional photos. And then like midway through 2018, I started to look at it and use it a lot. And I started to just feel like my life sucked.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And I was like, oh, man, you know, I'm starting my show over with the Jordan Harbinger show, and I got all this other stuff going, and look at all these people. And I was never the guy who looked at Facebook and went, oh, they're on vacation in a sunny place. My life sucks. I never cared, but somehow Instagram was able to fine-tune itself to like, just punch me in the shoulder a couple times a day. And so it just became this welt that I couldn't forget about. And so I stopped looking at other people's stuff. And if somebody was really posting a lot of FOMO, like fear of missing out, inducing BS, I literally blocked them. You can't just unfollow because they'll show up in like your frickin' Explore window.
Sure.
So I had to block people, even friends of mine. And they're like, hey, did you see my post? I'm like, no offense. I actually blocked you because all of the stuff that you're doing is interesting and I don't want to get sucked into it. And they're like, well, that's a weird thing to do to a friend. But I'm like, look, you're a marketer. You're good at it. I don't want to be subjected to it. And so...
But why not just enjoy your life and just enjoy, you know, look at theirs? It doesn't have to take away from your shit.
I totally agree with that, but I couldn't.
Theoretically,
I found that psychologically I couldn't, which is weird because if someone's on Twitter and they're like, Jordan, you suck, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
But if I look at somebody else's Instagram and they're doing something that I think it's not like I wish my life was like that. I just go, oh, shoot, I should also be doing, I should go to the gym and do this. Or like, oh, I'm not powerlifting. I'm just working out. Shoot, I should be doing. So they're not trying to make me feel bad. I'm doing it to myself. And I realized I couldn't turn it off.
Just take away the temptation to feel that way.
Yeah.
That's why I don't post workout vids, because I don't want to make people feel bad about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. People in Dachau would be jealous.
Want more Jim and Sam? Catch up with full episodes and interviews from celebrity guests anytime on demand using the SiriusXM app.